This is not something that our scholars did. You won't find this from the fi'l and from the sunnah of our ulama and our scholars. And it is sarahatan, this type of action is an action that can cause riya and showing off. And that person or those people that do it should go back and they should follow the sunnah of the ulama and the scholars. You won't find our ulama, Sheikh Abbas Sheikh wasn't sitting down reciting a surah just like that. You won't. Also, another thing that we've noticed is that في معرض lesson, so one of them would be giving a lecture or a lesson, and in the lesson obviously you're going to have to testadillu bi ayah, you're going to have to use a verse sometimes in the lesson, صح, an ayah. So what they do is the verse, instead of reciting the verse normally, they will do tilawah of the verse. So this is a lesson that's being delivered. So مثلا the lesson is about مثلا عقيدة and tawheed, and they want to use وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات as a dalil. Instead of just reading it normally, they say وعد الله الذين آمنوا, and they do recitation. They recite it, okay? And or والعصر إن الإنسان وهكذا, right? So they recite it in a melodious voice, but it's in a lecture, in a lesson. I heard Sheikh Abdul Muhsin Al-Abbad being asked this question, and he said that this is not from the Sunnah, and this is not something that a da'iyah should do. And if you go back to Bid'a al-Qurra, go back to a book called Bid'a al-Qurra by Sheikh Bakr Buzayd, he speaks about this in that book. Ibn al-Jawzi also, he speaks about this in Talbis Iblis. He says, and he's talking about some people basically spending a lot of time in their life learning qira'at or learning shawad al-qira'at, the qira'at that are considered to be shadda, right? He says, فَمِن ذَلِكَ, from the talbis of Iblis, he says, from the deception of Iblis, أَنَّ أَحَدَهُمْ يَشْتَغِلُ بِالْقِرَاءَاتِ الشَّاذَّةِ, that one of them will busy himself with these abnormal qira'at وتحصيلها, and learning them. فيفني أكثر عمره في جمعها. So he spends most of his life compiling them and learning them and teaching, and والإقراء بها, and reciting and teaching them. ويشغله ذلك عن معرفة الفرائض, and this distracts him from learning the wajibat, the fara'id, how to pray, how to give zakah, والواجبات. فربما رأيت إمام مسجد, sometimes you may even see the imam of a masjid يتصدى للإقراء, who will teach these qira'at, ولا يعرف ما يفسد الصلاة, and he doesn't know the things that nullify his salah. وربما حمله حب التصدر حتى لا يرى بعين الجهل, and sometimes this imam, because now he's sitting in front of the people teaching them how to recite the Quran, this will cause him, his love of the kursi, of the chair, will cause him to never learn about the wajibat, never learn about fiqh, how to pray, and zakah, and all of these other issues. He says, ربما يحمل هذا على أن يجلس بين يدي العلماء, he will feel too proud and too haughty to sit in front of the scholars and in front of people who are more knowledgeable than him. ويأخذ عنهم العلم ولو تفكروا لعلموا أن المراد, and if they only just contemplated, they would know that al-murad, the main thing is حفظ القرآن, is to memorize the Quran, وتقويم ألفاظه, and to straighten your pronunciation of the Quran, to correct your pronunciation, ثم فهمه, and then to understand the Quran, ثم العمل به, and then to act in accordance to it, ثم الإقبال على ما يصلح النفس ويطهر أخلاقها, and then to move towards things that will rectify your soul and rectify your manners. Al-Hasan, then he said, قال الحسن البصري, Al-Hasan al-Basri, he said, أنزل القرآن ليعمل به, the Quran was revealed in order for people to act in accordance to it. فاتخذ الناس تلاوته عملا, the people took the tilawah, the recitation of the Quran, as a amal. They acted with the recitation of the Quran. What does that mean? What is Al-Hasan al-Basri saying? He's saying that Allah revealed the Quran so that we may act in accordance to the Quran. But the people, اتخذ الناس تلاوته عملا. The people have placed more importance in the recitation of the Quran than in actually ماذا? Acting in accordance to the Quran. Does that make sense? Nowadays, مثلا, you see this, people are obsessed with Qur'an. Every day we hear a new Qari coming up. And we hear people, and even these, subhanAllah, some of these Qur'an, they would be, subhanAllah, in their car driving, instead of, subhanAllah, just reciting to themselves and subhanAllah, and using this moment between them and Allah Azza wa Jal, using this moment, they put a camera in front of them, and then, or they may even live stream it, and they recite for the audience. Ya Akhwan, this is not from the ilm, the hal of the Salaf. يعني the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-mujahiru bil-Qur'an kal-mujahiri bis-sadaqa." Or al-jahiru bil-Qur'an kal-mujahiri bis-sadaqa. يعني the one who recites the Quran audibly is like the one who gives sadaqah openly. يعني you're prone to falling into riya. You're prone to falling into riya. Also, Ibn al-Jawzi, he mentioned, my brothers, in another place, he mentioned, وَقَدْ لَبَّسَ إِبْلِيسَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ. There was a people, my brothers, in the time of the Salaf, who used to recite the Quran in the night, in the masjid. And they would recite loudly, just hakada. They would just recite the Quran loudly in the masjid. This is what they used to do. He said, Ibn al-Jawzi, he said, وَقَدْ لَبَّسَ إِبْلِيسَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ مِّنَ الْقُرَّاءِ. Iblis, he deceived some of the Qurra, فَهُمْ يَقْرَؤُونَ الْقُرْآنَ فِي مَرَارَةِ الْمَسْجِدِ بِاللَّيْلِ. So they would recite the Quran in the manara of the masjid. They would go at the top of the masjid in the manara, and then they would recite the Quran. فَيَجْمَعُونَ بَيْنَ أَذَى النَّاسِ فِي مَنْعِهِمْ مِنَ النَّوْمِ وَبَيْنَ التَّعَرُّضِ لِلرِّيَاءِ. So they would recite the Quran audibly, and then they would combine between two things, between causing harm to the people so that the people are not able to sleep, and between causing themselves to fall prey to riya, to showing off. Okay? So my brothers, this is part of the infiltration of the Ikhwanis in the Da'wah Salafiyya, because the Ikhwanis, they are a Sufi cult, my brothers. We know this. We've covered this many times. They are a Sufi cult. And their founding father, their father in misguidance, Hassan al-Banna, he himself was a Sufi. He himself used to say, I used to go to the adhkar of the Sufiya, where they would recite audibly things, right? So now the Ikhwan is now in the UK, in the West, they use Qur'an nowadays, and these Qur'an have no knowledge. A lot of them have not really studied, but they place them on a pedestal, and these Qur'an now, they use them to bring the masses in. So we shouldn't fall prey to this tactic, and we should stay how we were. Imam Malik would say, لن يصلح آخر هذه الأمة إلا بما صلح به أولها. The last of this ummah will not be rectified except with that which rectified the first of this ummah. The Ikhwanis will always look for new ways to bring the masses in. Their hadaf in life and their objective in life is bringing people to their corner and bringing people to under their flag. They will use every tariqah and every method necessary. Whereas the Salafi, his method and his hadaf is لِتَكُونَ كَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ الْعُلْيَا. And his hadaf is ماذا? Is to make sure that the people learn the haqq and the truth, no matter where. Imam al-Shafi'i, what did he say? He said, I wish that the people knew the truth and knew everything I know, and they didn't ascribe anything to me. So the Salafi doesn't care if things are ascribed to him or not. He doesn't care if people follow him or not. He just wants to get the message across. If the message reaches the ears of the people, Allahumma hal ballaght. He has conveyed the message. Whereas the Ikhwani, he has his own message, not the message of Islam, not the message of La ilaha illallah. He has his own message. وقل رب زدني